Hey guys, thanks for joining us again for Detour Podcast. We're back again for another day's racing at the Gong. We've got on the ground four-time national road champion from Australia, John Trevorrow. How many road titles did you win, Matty Wilson?
Just one,
Well,
unfortunately.
that's still pretty
Yeah,
good.
also rode Tour de France, Giro, Vuelta, a little bit more. So
Sun Tour, Herald Sun,
Yeah,
Jaguar Herald Sun Tour.
if he won more than those than me as well, so I'm always in his shadow.
Yeah.
Mate, I remember that Sun Tour win of yours. That was sensational. That last stage time trial, a lot of pressure on there, but you delivered.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, good memories.
Yeah. So what are you up to, Matty? You're obviously still busy. You're a race organizer. You're still doing a lot of junior development stuff with the Sunshine Coast team. So busy time at the Worlds.
Yeah, look, it is. It's just a great chance to get in front of a lot of people who haven't been able to get to Europe for the last few years. So just being here in Australia, so it's great to see some old faces. And yeah, we've got some great young riders coming through the program at the moment, and one of them got a silver medal today, which was fantastic.
Yeah, just take us through that. It was a very tight finish. You're talking about Hamish McKenzie, who finished second, 19 seconds behind, but he was in the hot seat for most of the day and then just got pipped right at the end.
World record, mate. That is the longest anyone sat in the hot seat in the history of cycling, I'm sure.
Yeah, they had a strange system where they're sending off riders in groups of four, and then there's 2-minute gaps in between, and then you've got 25 minutes till the next round. So it took them about 3 hours to get through the program of under 19. So and Hamish was fourth off, so he had about 2.5, 3 hours in the hot seat, which was pretty painful for him. But yeah, I don't think he was too disappointed. It was obviously you'd like to have gotten the win, but he did an incredible ride. He went down the ramp and his power meter stopped immediately, so he had no power reading at all. So he just had to ride to feel and felt like he did a great ride and yeah, he almost got there.
That's old school. Just riding off
the
field.
last rider. It's like so much like Grace Brown on Sunday. Sit there for all that time and the last rider beats you, and especially when you start to look at it and think, you know what? These times are so good. I was sitting with Matty today watching it, and it was heart in the mouth stuff. The last 2K, we didn't know. It was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, we knew that he had a really fast last lap just by the splits. So you know, even though that he was down a little bit on tailing there after the first lap and a half, we thought, oh well, you know, he's had a good last lap. And then he actually clawed a little bit back there on the last time check. So there's a glimmer of hope. So it was a pretty exciting finish.
Now, they love with results, particularly at junior level, they love comparisons with more established riders. What type of rider would you compare him to in, say, the pro peloton at the moment?
Oh, look, it's really hard to say. He's only, I just turned 18 years old. And the last couple of years he's been in Australia. Obviously, with COVID, he couldn't travel overseas. So he had a brief stint this year in Europe and got his first taste of that level of racing. But we haven't really seen what Hamish is capable of at this stage. He's obviously a fantastic time trialist and got a massive engine. We know that. But what sort of road rider he'll become, you know, in the pro peloton, who knows?
So he's like a Durbo, Luke Plapp, Cam Meyer, all bit of mix of all those three.
Yeah, why not?
You covered just about every style of rider with that, Dan.
Time trials as well.
He can sprint faster than those guys, so.
Oh, he's got more kick. Oh, well.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a punch on him. Yeah. So.
Well, working with Matty, I helped get him and young Cam Rogers, who rode really well for 14th, into the Bike Exchange team as sort of stagiaires at a Tour Down Under this year because of the way it was, not World Tour. They got a ride. So we had to get a few rules changed for under 19s to ride, but that's when I first really got to know him. A lovely, lovely young lad. They're both great young lads. And, I'd be surprised if they're not both Pro Tour, maybe even next year, because that's how good they are. The other really good ride was that other young Tasmanian kid who finished 18th in the end, but Will Eves. And you're telling me a little bit about him, Matty, how comes from the back blocks, the middle of Tassie, middle of nowhere, and he's a bright future.
Yeah, he really is. He comes from a family out in the middle of nowhere in Tasmania, and no one's really come from a sporting background. And then Will has found the bike and picked it up, and he's just a tenacious young rider. Loves to get in breaks, loves to be aggressive, never say die attitude, and he's just a fantastic young kid. And he's actually got a younger brother as well who we've signed at ARA Pro Racing Sunshine Coast for next year as well. So he's going to come through our under-19 program. And look, we also had a great ride from Isabel Carnes in the women's under-19. She was only 6 seconds off the podium, I think it was.
Yeah.
So you take out Zoe. Yeah, so you take out Zoe Backstead, who's obviously the next level above everybody else, but she was right there with the rest of the girls. So she's had a fantastic ride too.
Yeah.
So what is the secret, Matty? These juniors that are coming through, like we've spoken to you before about the program, but it sounds like the future's looking pretty good for Australian cycling particularly.
Look, there's a really special young group coming through at the moment. I think, it's one of the best groups when you look at it as a whole. They're all at a really high level and they've all got a lot of potential. You never know. I mean, they're all very young, and at this stage, it's easy to get caught up in possibilities, but they all develop at different rates, as you know. But look, it's a really exciting young group. I don't think there's any really missing links in there. They're all great talents, and I hope they all go on to great things in the future.
Now, one other thing that you're doing now is you're managing riders as well, Matty. So as part of coming to the Worlds, you can flick out a few business cards, network, get a few internationals on the books.
Oh, look, it's not me personally. I'm involved in an agency that does that, and it's a little bit special, a little bit different the way that they go about it, and I'm happy to be a part of that, and certainly looking at young talent and trying to recruit a little bit there is part of my role.
We've talked about this as well on the shows, like the younger riders now, particularly at pro level, they're looking at data and they're going all chips in. Is it important to keep these young riders sort of level-headed? You see some of them, they get thrown a bag of cash at them and their head can fall off. But as part of your sort of development side of things to give them the bigger picture?
Yeah, absolutely. And they really can get carried away. And I think especially the way pro cycling's gone over the last little era with obviously with Pogacar and Evenepoel coming through so young and being able to adapt to the World Tour just so quickly. I think all the teams are looking for the next talent, and everyone's looking at younger and younger riders now. And the riders are sort of thinking, well, I'm 18. Why aren't I riding for a World Tour team now? And why can't I go to the Tour de France? But, it's still the exceptional ones, and they are the exception, those ones that can do that. And for most, it's still a matter of developing at your own rate and developing in the right way and not getting thrown in the deep end immediately and expecting to destroy the world. You've got to develop at your rate and hopefully have a team around you that wants to support you to do that.
Iffy?
Now, I've just had a text from a world champion who must be watching the podcast, and he disputes your terminology of the back blocks of Tasmania, because Tim O'Shannessy comes from Burnie, same place as me. So Burnie's not so remote. So
sorry, my apologies. My apologies.
Maybe it's an outer suburb of Burnie.
Yeah, the city of Burnie, I'll say.
One thing you were talking earlier, if about the tech side of things, there was a bit of drama. Was it today or was it yesterday?
Yeah. One of our regular listeners, Andy Matthews, we bump into him around the world, but he's in the Gong today, and he took this photo just before the start. Young Norwegian riders on the line. Official comes up. Your socks are 2 centimeters too long, so he had to stop before he jumped on the thing. Fold the socks down. Whatever.
Got a couple of live comments. Wendy Superfan, hi, Dan, John, and Matt. Sam Allen says, evening chaps, flying to Australia on Thursday for the Worlds. Can't wait. Hopefully see you guys there. Knowlesy says, loving the insights of Matt. Yet another great video. And Will Wizard says, what is Matt's thoughts on the UCI doing away with junior gear restrictions from Jan 1, 2023?
I think it's a great. I don't know why it's taken this long. To be honest, it's kind of a rule that seems a bit set in the past, and it's about time. I mean, when kids are, and I said they're the exception, and they are, but still, you've got guys at 20 years old winning Tour de France's, and they're riding junior gearing, just 2 years before. Yeah, it seems a little bit archaic, but I think it'll be a great initiative, and I hope to see how it rolls out.
What is the junior gear restrictions for people that don't know?
They restrict the gearing to a certain size, so you can't ride too big a gear. So if anyone was watching the race today, you'll see that they were spinning incredible cadences because the course was just so fast, and they weren't allowed to ride a bigger gear. So the old school thinking was that was going to blow your knees out or hurt your development or things like that, which I don't really believe there's much science behind that. At the end of the day, I do think there might be a bit of a difference in the gap that'll happen between those under-19s, because the ones that do develop early and are big and strong and obviously advance past a regular young rider, I think on the bigger gears, they might be even more dominant. So we might see a little bit of that, but I don't think the health of the rider's in danger.
Now, obviously, we've also mentioned that it's a big event, having the home worlds in Australia. You obviously are involved with running cycling events as well. Do you think that there's going to be a snowball effect that will benefit the sport as a whole on a national level on the back of the Worlds of Wollongong?
Yeah, I hope so. Absolutely. And, any extra interest and extra eyeballs on the sport is fantastic. And anybody who's lucky enough to come on the weekend and watch the racing or has already been to the event might, get a little bit inspired and get more interested. And certainly, Australia's capacity to hold major events and, delivering on those in front of the world, I think, helps our reputation. And, it definitely can't hurt.
Iffy?
Yeah, look, I'm blown away with the juniors today. I thought the women's and the men's were just outstanding. And we're talking today about a few things. What I'm noticing, watching the junior girls, let's go back 10 years. I'd look at a women's race, and I've always been, a supporter of women's cycling. Bay Crits were the first race in the world to offer equal prize money. But you'd look at the bunch and you'd pick out 3 or 4, of the women's cyclists who rode beautiful position and others who struggle a bit. And that's changed over the last few years, where now you look at a women's race and they look fantastic. Well, I was looking at the junior women today, and you look at them in their time trial bike, and it's a different world, they are, no different to the young junior guys. They look fantastic on the bike. They're putting out enormous watts. Interestingly, and you touched on this with one of the other divisions before, Maddie, but I went back and looked at the times of Van Dijk and Grace, and then compared them to the men's elite, and they were, running about 31st, 32nd, something like that overall. A few years back they wouldn't have been anywhere. So that gap is closing. That really, really has been wonderful to watch.
Yeah, hasn't it? It's just been exciting with women's racing over the last few years, what's happened and the evolution. And it's been coming for a long time, but it seems to just be coming slowly, getting better, the level improving, the interest improving, the teams improving very slowly. But, over the last couple of years, it just seems to have just really lifted. And you can see, like you said, that gap between those times between the elite men and the women is closing. And it's great to see.
And we were talking about it yesterday. Great concept, the mixed team time trial.
Yeah, look, to be honest, I've never watched one. I've seen the results, obviously, and knew that it was around, but I've never actually watched one. So I'm very excited to see how that plays out.
I think last year was the first one. I'm pretty sure, but it's a wonderful concept. So that they do the 2 laps, the girls and the teams can actually pick if they put the girls first or the guys first. So it's hard to match the times up because some of the teams will put the girls on first, some of the guys. So it's right to the last couple of Ks when they work out time. So they ride as a team time trial. So the 3 girls ride and 3 guys ride. It's like a relay. They cross the line and the guys take off. So they can't split up. They have to stay together because it's the time of the third. So and then they're just added together. It's a wonderful concept.
Put your DS cap on, Matty. Would you rather be chasing a time or setting a time?
It depends on for the directors. It doesn't matter, but for the individuals, sometimes it can matter. Some people like to have those checks and like to know where they're at and get constant reassurance, and others don't want to hear a thing and don't care. So it really depends on the individual. And when you're with a group and there's multiple individuals, well then, yeah, it's a difficult one for the director to decide what to say.
Do you miss being in Europe DSing at all the big races, Matty?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I loved it. It was a great job. I'm very passionate about it and I enjoy it a lot. So yeah, of course I miss it. But I'm loving what I'm doing now. It gets me up in the morning and I never really have to work a day. I love everything I do. So I'm very, very happy where I am and wouldn't go back. That's for sure.
Now,
I don't want you to go back, mate, because I can tell you what you and Ben and Hank and that are doing at Sunshine Coast is changing the game in Australia. Seriously, it is. So congratulations, because it's absolutely cutting edge of moving forward, and it's going to bring so many of these youngsters and give them a chance on the world scene. It's actually brilliant.
Yeah, thanks, Iffy. Appreciate that.
Now, a guy that you know really well, Adam Yates, I just saw breaking news. He's signed a 3-year deal with UAE next year. He's jumping ship. Johnny.
Yeah, well, I heard that he was looking at moving. I know that there was some talk of him going to another team. That didn't happen. So there you go. Yeah, it's probably the right thing for him to do. Although at the moment, the way with the whole setup at Ineos, it might have been a chance for him to just stay there, and because they haven't got the right guys at the top at the moment. But anyway, that'll be interesting. UAE, okay.
But if you get the same coin to ride in support role, I'd take that. And then you can do the sort of 7-day races. It takes the pressure off, and you get good bang.
You sell out, Jonesy.
Oh, mate, you know me. I'm a cash man.
I think it's good. Look, I can imagine UAE, he'd be set for the Giro and then support the POG in the tour. It's what I can imagine would be happening. What would you think, mate? Matty?
Oh, 100%. That's why I'd be going. Yeah. Try and bolster that support. You could see it's definitely Pogacar's Achilles heel at the moment is the team that he had around him. So they need to bring in some extra support, and he's obviously great support in the mountains.
And I saw another article on Cycling News, and Peter Sagan said if he wins the Worlds this year, he's going to bin it. I don't think Sagan's going to win it this year.
Well, you know what? I'll listen to you in a second, mate, but I never discount Sagan. Whenever you think he's just about done, he comes and does something. He's amazing.
No, he's done.
Okay.
He's done.
Yeah, well.
I'd be very, very surprised if he won. But yeah, if he popped up in top 10, you definitely wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, we've got a couple more live comments. Kim Dixon says, spoke to Izzy Khan's sister on the side of the road today. Awesome for these young champs to be riding in front of their families. Caroline Harbeck says, g'day. And she said, great day of racing today. I'm looking forward to watching the team TT tomorrow. And Neil Jeffs got one for you, Matty. He says, who's Matt's pick for the junior men's road race?
I'm going to pick Oscar Chamberlain. Oscar's a young Aussie. I mean, obviously you've got this Josh Tarling, who's an incredible talent, who's just been the standout guy all year in the under-19s. He's going to be very, very hard to beat. But look, I'm obviously a bit partial to the Australians, and Oscar Chamberlain is actually a first-year under-19, so he's still got another year in under-19s to go. But he's been racing in Europe since he was about 12 years old. He actually won the under 13s Paris-Roubaix.
Under 13s Paris-Roubaix. You're
I've got a
kidding.
photo of him. I got a photo of him with the rock. Yeah. So he's a great young kid from Canberra. He's been racing overseas, except for COVID. He's been racing overseas every year since he was about that age. And he won E3 prize, which is the same as the classic, but the under-19 version in Belgium this year. So it was a massive win. And he's been going really well. So I think he'll be around the mark, and is definitely one to watch for the future.
Have you got him on the books?
Look, he's involved with ARC Sports. Yes, he's not involved with the ARA Pro Racing Sunshine Coast team.
Oh, well, at least you get a clip of some ticket.
Well, he's off to the AG2R Citroën team, the under-19 team in France next year.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Oh, good.
Will Wizard says, not John, the time of the two riders count. So that's for the...
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go.
He's missed the positive. The TTT will be a great watch in the rain. Is it going to be raining tomorrow up at the Gong?
Actually, I should read my rules. I just saw that. So I should have jumped in and beat the Wheel Wizard to that one. But anyway.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to throw at Matty before we let him go, Johnny?
Yeah, so I really enjoyed sitting there watching it with you today, mate. And you're getting very nervous towards the end. Who's your pick for the elite road race?
Oh, it's hard to go past Wout van Aert, as there's not many courses better for him. Well, he's one of those riders; everything's good for him. But it's tailor made for him. Really, the course. He's got the best team. It's hard to go past him, to be honest.
Sagan for silver.
Bling.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's a World Championships. Anything can happen, and these courses, no one's raced on them before, so it's very hard to predict. So anything could happen, and Bling, I think, he's obviously got the ability to do it. It suits him down to ground, the course. He's going to be super motivated. He always comes up for the World Championships and the big races. So yeah, he could be definitely amongst the win.
Yeah. What about in the women's race? Who do you think is going to get the chocolates?
Oh, look, I always seem to pick Annemiek van Vleuten because 50% of the time she wins, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Annemiek, is my pick there.
Yep, fair enough. Before we let you go, another comment. Joe Beach says a good interview with Oscar on the press room pod today. And Carolyn says the rain expected late in the Arvo. I'll have a brolly on hand just in case. So there you go. Look forward to catching up in person. You're going to be there for the weekend, obviously, Matty?
I will. Yep, I'll be around.
All right, we'll have to have a quiet.
Are you going to be around, Jonesy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Friday.
Going. Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and miss the AFL Grand Final, the Van Sank lunch, and just putting it all in for cycling, mate. That's the passion I've got for the sport.
Good to hear, mate.
Yeah, that's it. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on again, Matty. Keep up the good work, mate, and we'll check in again soon.
No worries. See you soon. See you.
Thanks, Matty. See you tomorrow, mate.
Matty Wilson, national road champion back in 2004, was it? 3?
Man, about that time, yeah. And amazing story, because not long before that, he'd had Hodgkinson's lymphoma, like
That's
cancer.
right.
At only 17, 18 years of age, and got over that. And within a year and a half, he's winning major bike races. So great story.
Yeah. All right, quick drinks break. When we come back, we've got the post-race interviews from Josh and Zoe. So plenty more to come on the detour.
Look at this bike. You think it's just a bike, right? But it's not. It's a bike. 374 people are looking at. This guy, this girl, them, all looking at it. People from here, there, and wherever this is. People that are looking for a bike. Or just a piece of it. Amateurs, semi-amateurs, and pro-amateurs. This guy wants this bike, but with this crank and these bars. This could be the perfect match. But not this one. This girl has a bike to sell, and thousands of people might purchase it. Eyes on Bikes help grow small businesses. his, hers, yours, and the latest data and insights help those businesses keep moving. We are the world's #1 bike marketplace with over 500,000 products and 900 brands, where buyers and sellers are brought together in a place where a bike is never just a bike. Bike Exchange, where the world buys, sells, learns, and rides.
Thanks again to our great mates at Bike Exchange, massive supporters of the Detour podcast. Head over to bikeexchange.com.au if you need a road bike, mountain bike, e-bike, gravel bike, and any bike accessories. You'll be supporting local dealers, and you'll be supporting companies that support our podcast and the Jayco Bike Exchange Pro Cycling Team, Johnny.
Exactly. Jayco Bike Exchange. I thought it was Bike Exchange Jayco, but close enough.
Close enough. All right, as we said, here's Zoe Backstead after her dominant display in the time trial today.
I came into it knowing that the climb was going to be tough, and being last person off, I had already seen some of the times at the halfway point and at the finish. And yeah, I was watching my Wahoo when I was riding, and I was like, right, 10.5 minutes, and I was over the climb. I was like, okay, good, I should be up. And yeah, I just kept pushing and pushing, and cornering in the skis, out the skis, I find it just so much fun, and I don't know what to say. One of my biggest goals of the season, just trying to win this, make it one up from last year, and I'm so happy I was able to do it. I did so much work this season, just nailing the time on the time trial bike, nailing the hours, the intervals, replicating the course, everything like that, and I'm so happy it paid off.
Now, if you take credit, a little bit of credit for Zoe's existence, because you tell everyone the story.
Well, Magnus, her dad, Magnus Backstead, famous Swedish cyclist who sounds like an Aussie because he raced in a lot of teams with Stuart O'Grady and Henk Vogels, and so he learned. He always, the Swedes speak great English, but he learnt the Aussie slang. So I've just been texting back and forth with Maggie, who's just a legend, of course, and won the Paris-Roubaix in 2007, I think. But, you know,
that was
Tour de France rider.
Won in 2007.
Sorry, well, one of those years anyway. Just before Stewie, just after 2004 might have been. Anyway. Yeah. A legend. So he was racing in Australia with Stewie and riding in the Bay Crits, and his lovely wife Megan was riding. Well, Megan Hughes, I think her name was back then, was racing in the British team, riding in the Bay Crits, and that's when they met. So when her older sister was born, I think Eleanor, who's racing in these worlds, Maggie sent me a lovely photo and said, thanks, mate, because they met at my bike race. So it's just a nice little story, that's all.
That's it. The old Bay Crits.
We're going to get Maggie on. Maggie just sent in a text that he'd love to come on. So next couple of days we'll get Maggie on, who's works now with British, one of the commentators on British TV. So he's a character.
And here's Josh Tarling after his victory today as well.
Well, I mean, it definitely hasn't sunk in yet, but it just feels like a relief. I think so much hard work and a bit annoyed after last year, and it's just like I really wanted it, and it's just relief. I mean, I thought I'm going okay, but I think I eased off a bit too much and took it a bit too easy, so I had to kick for the last few sections and then tailwind, and that basically not use the tailwind on that last straight. So, but I think it was mainly all about the corners, trying to get that up. Yeah, it's awesome, and I think the coaches really deserve it, and everyone really deserves it in GB. So, really proud.
Yeah, when you say it's relief, you're going into the race pretty confident, I think.
I don't know if you saw the reactions to Hamish Mackenzie when he realised he just got pipped. It was beautiful, actually. It was just the frustration, whatever, but a big smile, to get that close. To sit there all bloody day on that hot seat, and then gradually all the big stars are, he is a big star, but they're not quite getting there or not getting close, and you start to think, one ride to go, although he was always going to be the man to beat. But, a wonderful finale. Sensational, actually.
Well, it should be another big day tomorrow. We'll be recapping the time trial, the team time trials. So keep up the support. YouTube.com/the Detour Podcast. We'll be back again tomorrow. Anything you want to add before we wrap things up, Johnny?
No, looking forward to tomorrow. It's a great concept. One of the special things about the world titles, I mean, there are lots of races where the women and the men might end up at the same place, but they don't really get to mix. You know, there are different races, they're staying in different hotels. But here, they're coming as teams from one country, and the women and the men cyclists get to spend more time together. But this one event actually puts them together on the road. When it first got touted last year, a lot of people poo-pooed it. I thought, I think it's a great idea. And it was fantastic. And this year,
poo-pooed it. I've never heard that.
Haven't you?
Is that a diffeism?
It could be. It could be.
Okay.
Poo-pooed the idea. They bagged it. All right.
Okay. Yeah. Well, hopefully they don't poo-poo it tomorrow. It should be a good day. Tune in again, guys. And we'll
you young guys
again.
don't understand all the old terminology.
No, we don't. Not that one. All right. See you tomorrow, mate. Thanks again, guys.
See you, Dan.